that a lot of the times we don't give our circumstances credit. A lot of the times our delays are helping us gather more information. So the more that we give every moment like that value, the more we may be able to pick up more information that ultimately will help us reach our goal and what you can call your dream jobs. Hello my friends, and welcome back to my channel, or if you're new here, welcome to my channel. My name is Paige. If you like this video, obviously like and subscribe, yada yada yada. You already been new. Obviously you can tell by the title I would like to talk a little bit about how I manifested my dream occupation, my dream job, and basically just how I became an astrologer and why I became an astrologer, how I knew that this was the right thing for me. Because let's face it, I didn't just wake up when I was a child and realize, oh my god, I want to be an astrologer, and then boom, that's just where I ended up. Like, no. And I also really just want to talk about the law of attraction in really human terms, because I feel like when you hear people talk about the law of attraction, they make it sound like it's this really quick, magical, easy thing. And you know, it can be, but it's not always like that, especially when you're like not really consciously attracting things, or you're just starting out with it. So first things first, when I was younger, I actually wanted to be like a singer. Like, nothing practical was in my ballpark. I was either going to be a singer, an actress, or a baseball umpire. Yes, in that order, those were my options. However, through my lovely experiences with bullying and all the other great wonders of adolescence, and I got depressed, so those kind of hopes just jumped right out of my system, and I just wanted to do something practical, because that's what people that are depressed do. I'm kidding, but I'm not. So anyways, in the heat of my depression, I decided that I would like to go to school to be a biomedical engineer. And I did go to school for that. And I actually landed a job as a research associate for a clinical trial. So that was like absolutely sweet. But then I learned very suddenly that that was absolutely not what I wanted to do. So that was a bit of a shell shock for me. And I can just tell you right now that I took the transition between changing my majors very hard. If you're anything like me, I like to have goals set and I like to achieve my goals. So when you achieve your goal and then you don't like what you end up with, it's really dissatisfying, and it really leaves you with an empty feeling, but also this push to try to get something that does satisfy you, which is not the easiest to find when you've had your heart set on something else. I ended up switching schools and switching majors, doing psychology, and ended up working as a direct care worker, which, let me tell you, that was a very, very extreme job that I ended up working that gave me so much experience and so much knowledge in such a short amount of time. That tangent was a very important part of my life that I never want to go back down. So boom, another dream crushed, and I had to go and find another occupation, another thing that I felt worked for me, and honestly, I had no idea. So if you've seen my other videos, you've heard me talk about my experience working at a bar, then working at a health club, and then finally at my experience working at a health club, which gave me the sanity and the calmness to figure out what I actually wanted to do with my life. I recognized something that I didn't really recognize in those moments in the past, and I think this is something I wish people would talk about more when it comes to manifestation, law of attraction in general, is how much your brain wants to control everything and how that ultimately ruins a lot of things for you. It ruins a lot of great experiences, because, you know, I was really having a hard time every time I changed my mind, because I was so set in my ways, and I didn't need to be that set in my ways, because, you know, like, life is a very changeable thing. I mean, if you see anything in nature, you know that nothing stays the same for very long. So why do we expect so much of ourselves from that kind of behavior, you know? Really looking back at it, you know, I should have taken those moments as valuable and understood that those times in my life were showing me, you know, what I didn't want, and that actually does serve me a lot. While it didn't feel like it did at the time, because it wasn't something I enjoyed, you know, even the things you don't enjoy actually serve you a lot. And throughout your manifestation process, I think that's a big indicator of when you're getting closer to your goal, is you're starting to recognize things that aren't your goal and don't align with it. And that's like showing you that you know how to discern that. So that's a good sign. But, you know, from there, I was working at the health club, and I saw when I was working as an engineer, I loved math. I really can understand math concepts well. But I didn't like how square it felt in my own terms. You know, it was a little rigid. It felt a little boring. I was just looking at a computer with an Excel sheet all day. Like, I wanted better for myself. I wanted more fun. And I just remember, you know, noticing that. And then this psychology job, I loved psychology, but being so directly involved in such a bad system, honestly, the ECFS and the entire department of whatever that controls the childcare problems in this country are absolutely just so messed up. Like, the systems are so backwards and just all about money, and it's really hard to be a part of things like that and feel like you're making a difference because you're not supported from the up above. So that was something that really bothered me. So I was like, okay, I need to be able to make an impact, and I need to be able to do this, but how do I do that? So, you know, I slowly became just focused on myself, focused on my health. Like I said, because I deteriorated my own health through my own obsession with success, through my own obsession with finding this dream job, you know, that was really, like I said, my biggest fault in all of this. And that's something I would love to caution you guys all on, that is, don't stress about it. Just focus on what makes you feel good, and appreciate that you notice that. Appreciate that you can discern what is good to you and what is bad to you, because that is a skill that, you know, people don't always have. Some people just genuinely remain unconscious of those types of things. So don't take it for granted. Take it as something to be grateful for. Going forward, you know, the more that I was able to take those experiences as something to be grateful for through my healing process, you know, I went off on my tangent working at a health club, which brought me into spirituality. It brought me into tarot, numerology, Reiki, like astrology, anything you can name. I dived into it, and I learned so much about myself that way and about what I liked. And I realized that that was the kind of thing that I needed to pursue, and that I could actually get something out of, you know, not even just financially, but like emotionally and like spiritually, like, you know, my soul could feel happy. And ultimately, I think that's what works best with the law of attraction. That's what works best for manifestation, is if you truly believe and you're truly passionate about what you want. I mean, that's a desire in its essence. I think that we tend to equate, you know, like our lust or sometimes our envy as, you know, directly what we should be manifesting into this world, but sometimes it's so much deeper. It's more about the feeling. It's always more about the feeling, actually. So, you know, I want to share this with you guys, because the way I became an astrologer was because I took every little opportunity, every little experience that I had, and I gave it value, and I looked through it. I discerned the moments and saw them for what they are, and for what they served and what they didn't serve, and what I could do to align more and more with a life that had those moments that served. So looking back, the way that I became an astrologer is I stumbled upon it, you know? I really liked math, and astrology uses a lot of math. I really like psychology, and astrology uses a lot of psychology. I really like spirituality, and astrology uses a lot of spirituality. I really liked health stuff, and astrology has health stuff. So for me, it became very clear to me that this is what I need to be doing. And on top of that, I wanted to be in a job where I could keep learning. And with astrology, you were always learning. There's always more to dive into. And that is just everything I could have ever wanted to do with my life. And on top of it, astrology to me is like an art, because truly you can interpret different energies in so many different ways, and there's so many different words to describe things and ways you can describe things. I mean, it's a beautiful use of my own skills, and I recognize that because I've seen my skills, I've appreciated my skills, and that alone allows me to manifest beautiful things into my life, because I appreciate things. I see the value in them, thus attracting more beautiful, appreciative, valuable things into my life. You see, it just all comes back around. And that's the beauty of the law of attraction and manifestation, is, you know, you act as if, and that becomes your truth, that becomes your reality. So it's important to note that your experiences are telling you what you need to know. It's important to note that you know already what is going to be best, and you're already being guided to that. And when you trust that, you know, your experiences are aiding you in that process, you'll be able to see what they've taught you and what they're guiding you towards, because ultimately you're already going towards it. But, you know, like I said, your ego gets in the way sometimes. As people, we get scared of the unknown. We want to know where we're going. We want to know the way. We want to know that we're going to be okay. But sometimes you just have to believe that you're okay and create your own safety in order for you to have that moment and clarity to find that next step, and in order to allow that manifestation to become what it needs to be. be. So yeah, that concludes this video. If you liked it, like I said, make sure you give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. If you would like exclusive energy updates or to learn more about manifesting, metaphysics, astrology, or any sort of divination techniques, I encourage you to check out my Patreon, which I'll have linked down below. But let me know if you have any questions or comments about this, because I think that a lot of the times we don't give our circumstances credit, you know. A lot of the times our delays are helping us gather more information. So the more that we give every moment like that value, the more we may be able to pick up more information that ultimately will help us reach our goal and what you can call your dream job. So I hope this video helped you guys, but otherwise I'll see you in a later video. Bye for now.